Let's talk a little bit about wedding video pricing. I personally feel like this is just as important as any gear review out there because at the end of the day, if you can't make money with your equipment, then it's all kind of useless. So my goal for this video is to be as transparent as possible with all of my pricing, all of my add-ons, and why I offer what I offer. And I feel like over the last 7 years, I've had a lot of experience with different pricing packages, and I would just like to share that with you guys as transparently as possible. So let's get right into it. For some context, I'm Canadian, so all of the prices you're about to hear are in Canadian dollars, and more specifically, I live in Winnipeg, which is about a medium-sized market. There are definitely cheaper areas where you can get video for a lot cheaper, and a lot more expensive areas like Toronto and Vancouver where you can easily charge double what I'm about to mention in this video. So kind of keep that in mind when you're watching this video. So these prices are based off of a medium-sized market in Canada. Even within Winnipeg, I would say I'm around a 7.5 out of 10 when it comes to like expensive wedding videographers. There are a few people who charge more than I do, and there are a lot of people who charge nowhere close to what I charge. So I would say I'm right around that 7.5 out of 10. I feel like that little bit of context is very important before we get into all of these prices. And let's say if you're from New York or LA and your work is absolutely stunning, then these prices are probably not for you. So just keep that in mind. I'm from a medium market and I'm slightly on the pricier side within my market. So I do the classic 3-tier pricing system. This is kind of what just works best for me. I've experimented with other things in the past, but I just keep coming back to this because I feel like everything is just easier for the client to understand with this system, and I'm also able to charge more per client with this system. So starting off, we have my Essentials package, which starts at $2,400. This package includes a ceremony film, speeches film, 8 hours of coverage, 2 videographers, and an online delivery. Then comes the Gold package, which comes in at $3,600, and this includes a 3 to 5 minute feature film, ceremony film, speeches film, 12 hours of coverage, 2 videographers, and an online delivery. Lastly, we have my Platinum package, which is my most expensive offering, and this package comes in at $4,400, and it offers a 5 to 7 minute feature film, a 1 to 2 minute teaser film, a documentary film, 14 hours of coverage, 3 videographers, an online delivery, and a custom delivery package. So that in a nutshell is my pricing structure, and now let's go over why I've designed things the way I have and why it works for me personally. And I feel like this is the part of the video that's gonna help you guys customize it to your business, your couples, and kind of make it your own. Because trust me, copying and pasting someone else's work is just not gonna take you very far. It might work in the short term, but at the end of the day, I don't know your market, I don't know your couples. So if you guys understand the thinking behind these decisions, you guys can make these decisions for yourselves instead of just copying someone else's work. One thing I feel like that would be important for you guys to know is that all of the equipment that I own outright. Nothing is on any kind of installments or buy now, pay later. So that just really affects the month-to-month budget of a business. At the end of the day, what that means is that I'm able to pocket more of the profits and I don't have to give it off to a store or pay it off in interest. But again, that might differ for you guys, so you might have to take that into account when you're pricing something for your business. We'll start off with the Essentials package, and this is designed in a way to bring in some very quick revenue for the business. I've designed a whole workflow around it to a point where I can shoot a wedding, let's say on a Saturday, and I can be done editing all of the deliverables by the Sunday, end of day Sunday. Sometimes it'll go into like Monday afternoon, but I'm pretty much done everything 24 hours after the wedding is done. So essentially what that amounts to is a $2,400 weekend for me, essentially. I make a quick $2,400 and I'm kind of done with it. That's not because this stuff is easy to do. It still takes time, and if you're just starting out, I doubt you can do this within 24 hours. This is just because I've been doing this for 7 years and I know what to avoid. I know what makes editing easier and faster and more efficient. And it's just a whole workflow from start to finish, a lot of tinkering, and finally after 7 years, I've designed it in a way that I'm just done within 24 hours and I don't have to think about it after that. Part of what allows me to do all of this is buying equipment which supports the workflow, and the workflow makes my work more efficient, and efficient work just lets me do stuff faster, and doing stuff faster just at the end of the day brings in more money for the business, by me just doing more work, or just lets me have some free time and I'm able to make the same amount of money for less time. And time is money at the end of the day. And some of the things I've bought to support this workflow is 4 different cameras from the exact same company that offer the exact same quality of footage and the exact same color science, which makes matching footage super simple. And I'm also redundant recording to all of those cameras. So exact same SD cards for every single camera. All of these cameras also have no record limit, so I can leave them running as long as I want. And also 32-bit audio recorders, which of course I don't have to worry about peaking ever. And of course, just having dual of everything when it comes to audio recorders, SD cards, batteries. I mean, I have a lot more than 2 batteries, but just as many backups as possible so nothing goes wrong on the wedding day. I personally also take a second shooter with me to every single wedding, so I'm not doing anything solo, and we're also communicating with each other all the time. And we used to just do hand signals. We just had like a whole language with hand signals, but now I've invested in proper wireless headsets that we can talk to each other, make sure someone always has a good shot, and investing in a powerful editing machine which makes editing a breeze, and Premiere Pro's multicam is great. So as you can tell, this is not a cheap fix. This has taken a lot of time, energy, and a lot of money to kind of construct all of this. But now at this point, I can just crank out these edits. And that $2,400 I'm charging has to cover for all of the overhead of all of the work I've already done to kind of make sure it works the way it does. So I feel like the $2,400 kind of gets the job done. And this is a number that's small enough that couples aren't turned off by it. Of course, there are going to be some couples you always turn off who think even if you charge $500 as a starting point, they're going to be like, hey, that's too much. We want someone cheaper. But I feel like for a majority of couples in my city, $2,400 is a great starting point. I personally do know people who are offering 10 times more stuff than me for that $2,400, $2,500, but they're still willing to go with my $2,400 starting point because my work is just good and the experience is just great. Again, I'm at that 7.5 in terms of the pricing. So when they're contacting me, they know they can expect some premium pricing. But $2,400 I feel like is low enough that it works. And on a per wedding basis, the only thing I have left to pay for is my second shooter. And I pay him $40 an hour, and for 8 hours is $320. And of course, I still have to pay for the online gallery, which is about $10, and gas here and there. So let's call it an even 400, if you will. And so that's basically a profit of $2,000. Of course, that doesn't include the kit rental and my fee and whatnot, but basically at the end of the day, I get to pocket $2,000 for my time of just one whole weekend. I don't sell too many of the essentials package. It'll come here and there, but mostly people tend to go with the gold package. But I'm very happy to just crank out these essential package weddings because they're super quick. I get to make a quick $2,000. And that $2,000 is a very kind of baseline profit margin. It only goes up from here. And as a business owner, it's very important to have a baseline, right? Like I want to at least make $2,000 when I go shoot a wedding. Again, it just covers for my overhead. I've invested a lot of money in this equipment, so my business has to pay for that. So that $2,000 is where I start off. Now let's talk about the gold package. And the main difference here from the essentials is the added 3 to 5 minute feature film and the extra hours required to film the extra stuff for the feature film. So I'll start a little bit earlier in the day, capture some of the prep, and I'll stay a little later to capture some of the dancing. So we get a little bit of those in the feature film. Again, I'm not doing any kind of full coverage for those things. Those are just captured for the feature film. That's why this still only includes the ceremony film and the speeches film as part of the full coverage. And I make sure to remind the couple during my consultations that this will just have full coverage of those 2 things. And I'll also send along some examples so they're not at all confused when they see the final product. And just calling it a ceremony film and a speeches film instead of just full coverage, I feel like that just does a lot to make sure they're not expecting something that I'm not going to deliver. So the gold tends to be my most popular package, which basically means for me as a business owner, this has to have the highest profit margin for me. So what I've done over the past year or so is I've started to test removing a couple things from this package and seeing if my couples are still okay with it. The biggest thing that I removed from this package is a custom delivery package. Personally, for me, the custom delivery package cost me roughly $120. I custom order them for each couple that has engravings with their names on it, a customized hard drive for all the deliverables. I just do that for the platinum package now, but I used to do it for both. And my couples, they don't seem to care, which is great because it saves me a little bit of money without kind of sacrificing the client experience because they don't seem to care. So again, it's really important to have very high margins in your most popular package. If most of your couples are gonna go for it, this is where I make most of my money. So I still have to pay my second shooter, and for 12 hours, I've negotiated a flat day rate and I pay him $400. And typically I won't even be there for 12 hours. It's usually closer to the 10 and a half to 11 hours. But I like to offer 12 just as extra security so my couples don't tend to worry about overtime the day of. And I'll mention that during my consultations that, hey, I've designed these packages in a way to be self-sufficient so you don't have to worry about overtime. And most of the time, 12 hours is more than enough to produce everything that's required of the gold package. That's just how I advertise it. And my couples, that just gives them confidence in me that I know what I'm doing, that I've spent time and designed everything in a way that they don't have to worry about anything. So the only extra deliverable is the 3 to 5 minute feature film, which I edit myself. And it takes me, usually if I was to just sit straight, it takes me 10, 12 hours to do. But that obviously I'm not just sitting editing an entire video in a day. So typically it'll take me about 2 weeks to put together a video. And I have a system. And my A and B cameras are both FX3s and they're identical. I make sure I match all my settings. That makes my life super easy when I'm capturing the prep. I can cut between them easier. It just makes it easier to tell the story with identical A and B cameras. So basically what I've done is identical A and B cameras and identical C and D cameras. So C and D cameras are both A7 IVs. And I only bring these out for the ceremony and speeches where I need the extra angles. The rest of the day when I'm capturing, let's say, the dance floor or the prep stuff, it's just my A and B cameras. Same cameras there, makes things super easy. And I myself am always on a prime lens, and my second shooter is always on a 2470 or a 24-105 zoom lens. So I'm always trying to get the prettier shot. He's always trying to get the safer shot. So no matter what, I have a shot. And I know what kind of shots that my couples are gonna like because they see stuff on my website, they like that stuff, and they are expecting to see that in their final product. So basically that's an extra $1,200 I'm able to charge for maybe 10 to 12 hours of extra editing. And for editing, as you probably know, that's a pretty good rate. You're essentially making $100 an hour. That's really, really good. And I'm happy with those margins. And there are no additional costs with this package except for the extra $100 that goes to my second shooter, $300 versus $400. The gallery cost is still the same. The gas most likely is still the same. So just for an extra $100, I'm able to charge an additional $1,200. Again, it's not because they're getting ripped off or anything. They're paying for my style, right? My editing style, my creative storytelling, all of that stuff. That's worth something. And that's what I'm charging them, the $100 an hour for editing, right? So for me, that makes sense. I'm happy with that. Being my highest selling package, I'm very happy with the roughly $3,100 that I'm able to pocket with this package. Again, not taking into account my time because I'm the owner of the business. What I have to pay to other people is just the $500. So $3,100 for roughly 2 weeks of my time, I'm totally happy with that. Now, the platinum package. And roughly 30 to 35% of my couples end up going for the platinum package. And when it comes to pricing, I feel like there are one of two ways to go when it comes to pricing your most expensive option. Number one being is totally go overboard and make your middle package look like a steal. So in that case, I would have priced this around the $5,000 mark, where basically your couples look at your packages and they look at the highest option. They're like, whoa, that's crazy. Look at this one, the middle one, that's a great deal. I'm gonna go for that one. And the second option is make it kind of closer to the middle package, where it's close enough that people are just intrigued to just kind of hop over. because it's just a little bit extra. That's why the difference between my essentials is $1,200, essentials to gold, and then gold to platinum, it's only $800. I have it priced at $4,400. This is kind of the psychology you see in fast food restaurants a lot, where they'll have like a drink at $1.49, and then the medium at $2.79 and the large at $2.99. Where that 20-cent difference is so small that people just end up going for the large. So the restaurant sells a lot more larges, and if someone just wants to get the medium anyways, they kind of got to charge extra for the medium. And I've kind of experimented with the same thing here. I used to charge less for my gold package, and what I found was that it was such a good deal for people that they would just get that all the time, and nobody was going for my platinum package. And basically what that pricing looked like back in the day was $2,100, $3,100, and $4,100. And this was like 2 years ago. And so I've bumped that up a little bit, and now I'm doing 24, 36, 44. And if I would have stuck with the same math of 24, 34, 44, I feel like my platinum sales would have just dropped a little bit more. So just bumping up the gold package by $200, it steers people enough towards the platinum package where I started selling that a lot more. And if people still opt for the gold package, well, I just charge them an extra $200, right? And I'm totally happy with that too. So that's kind of the thinking that goes behind pricing a platinum package. Again, that's just what works for me. And if you feel like, hey, I just want to drive sales to my middle package, maybe just pricing the highest package absurdly high is the way to go for you. Again, it might just work for your market, so I recommend testing both options there. My profit margins are a little bit lower for the platinum package, simply because I have to pay for an additional person. So that's $800 just on payroll. And I also have to pay for a custom delivery package, which is roughly $120. And I also outsource the editing, so I don't do the feature film myself, because my editor is just better at doing 2-song feature films. And he's great, he's very fast, and I'm happy to just outsource the platinum packages just his way. That just works out better for me. And that also is a $400 expense. At the end of the day, I'm paying an additional $900 and some change for the platinum package, for the editing, extra crew member, and the delivery package. But what that means is that it's less stress on me because I don't have to do the feature film, so I can just kind of sit back, relax, and I'm very familiar with my editor at this point, and he knows my style and he knows how to put the video together, where I basically have no notes to give back to him. I still do the documentary film, which we're going to talk about in just a second here. But that, again, with my workflow that I've designed, that's basically just a 2-day job. And I'm okay with the slightly smaller profit margins where it's just less stress on me. And speaking of the documentary film, essentially, instead of just doing ceremony and speeches, I will do the first look, and I will do any kind of first dances or any kind of games the couples have, bouquet toss, garter toss. I'll throw in extra detail shots into like a cocktail hour video. If the couple are doing private vows before the ceremony, I'll do that. Jewish ceremonies have something called a hora. I'll do full coverage of that. And essentially, it's me doing full coverage of as many things as possible. And that becomes very easy when you have cameras that cut together very well, and you make a point of making sure the colors match throughout the wedding day. When it comes to the workload on me, the platinum package is actually a lot closer to the essentials package, because I only have to do the full coverage videos, which is a day for the essentials and 2 days for the platinum package. The gold package is more work for me, but it's my highest selling package, and I need to keep that money in the company with me as best as I can, right? So profit margins, very important for the middle package for me, or the highest selling package for you. So that, in a nutshell, is why I've made the decisions that I have. And I really hope that all of this has made sense for you guys, and you guys can make better money decisions for your business and better pricing decisions for your business. And yeah, because honestly, it sucks to not charge enough for your work, and you just have to be honest with yourself. Where do you think you stand? And the analogy I had at the start of the video of I'm in a medium market and my work is a 7.5 out of 10, I feel like that is a very honest review of myself, and that I think will take you very far if you do that for your business. And these numbers, these details can really help you hone in and just make sure create something very custom for your business. If you guys have made it this far, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you guys are comfortable with it, leave your pricing structure in the comments down below as well. This can be a very intimidating topic, and I feel like we could all help each other in the comments down below, and it would just mean a lot to this community, and it would mean a lot to me as well. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys next time.